Jack, this car should be actually yours, not mine, because at the moment you're probably making way more money than anybody that I know. But put all jokes aside, Jack Bloomfield, you're 20 years old, and you're originally from Brisbane, living in New York today. You started a company that you're running now a couple of years ago, and company has raised a lot of money, and you moved the office from Brisbane to New York, and you're 20 years old. Now, most 20 years old, they don't know really too much about business, full stop. You running it. Tell us who is Jack, because it's fascinating. You're so young, which is so inspiring, because most young people, they're not doing what you're doing. They're trying to get better education. They're trying to learn about themselves. They're trying to learn about the world. It's yourself, hey, let's skip everything, let's start a company, raise money, and I'm flying.
Yeah, well, a lot of those things, to be honest, I think I'm still trying to do.
Yes.
But look, I started when I was 15, buying and selling products online. I had no money, as you mentioned, grew on the outskirts of Brisbane.
Yes.
Mum and Dad run tennis centres, so we lived above a tennis centre for the first 10 years of my life.
Can you play tennis?
I could until like 15, until I gave up. So much to Dad's disappointment. But yeah, so look, I'd always watched them work their asses off to build something from the ground up. I mean, Mum used to be a flight attendant, Dad used to be an accountant. They sold everything and bought this tennis centre. So for me, starting a business had always been one of those things that I had looked at. It didn't seem difficult, but I knew it was going to be hard work. But then again, I knew absolutely nothing. So the first business I ever actually started, I think there's a video of me at 8 years old on my Instagram talking about a transport logistics company. And it was with my older cousin. I was going to start it. We were going to go against Toll, Lynn Fox and T-Mac.
At what age?
8 years old.
8 years old.
Had the pricing model all done, had the website built. We even had inbound leads from people looking to ship packages because the website looked that legitimate.
It would be interesting if you had to go physically to a meeting and then they see this 8 years old. Okay, where's your father?
No, I know. And the worst thing is the phone number was actually the family house phone number. So Mum would pick the phone up and be, I don't know what you're talking about, but I put Jack on.
And then you would probably try to sound like a freaking adult. Not
oh God, yeah.
Old.
I think the voice went from like way up here to way down here, but I don't know if you can mask being 8.
Yes.
So look, that was that. I had always just been interested in starting something.
So 8 years old, that was really your entry of thinking about business.
100%.
And your future ahead.
Yeah. So the next business I did was, I was 12. I had a friend's birthday party that I was looking to go to. I couldn't make it, and neither could Mum. So really I thought, well, what's the best thing that we could send in exchange? Well, it's going to be a gift card and a greeting card. Realised there was no easy way to do that. So went with Mum to the shops, spent all the money I had at the time on all these greeting cards, happy birthday, happy anniversary. I think it was Halloween that was coming up as well.
Yes.
Spent all the money then on gift cards. So I think the most I could ever afford was maybe $4 or $5 $20 gift cards.
Yes.
When I built the website, and the whole idea was if you weren't going to something, you could virtually send a gift card with a greeting card. I took handwriting lessons as well, so I could write a message in these cards. And then went out and marketed the business by riding around on my bike with flies in my backpack.
Yes.
And there's a couple of photos of me doing that, and that was 12. So my first real business was e-commerce. So as I mentioned, I started at 15. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I saw a couple of people on YouTube talking about how they were buying and selling these products, finding products from places like Alibaba, listing them on Shopify stores and marketing them on Facebook. Thought it was quite interesting. Anyways, I had $500 to my name. Most of that had come actually from mowing lawns next door. So I spent all of that on Facebook ads within 3 weeks. So blew it, I made 0 sales. Went back, was mowing lawns for another 6 months, reinvesting every cent back into Facebook ads. Finally made a sale and thought, well, honestly, if you can make 1 sale, how hard is it to make 2? I thought I was Bill Gates.
But which is interesting because when you start any business, specifically when it's sales driven, and I always remembered anything that I started, your first sale feels like, oh my God, I have made it, the excitement and drive that gives you, it's a memory that you always cherish.
Yeah, I vividly remember it. It was, so I at the time wasn't even allowed to have my mobile phone in my room when I was sleeping. So I have to put it for charge in Dad's office. And every single morning for those 6 months, I would get up out of bed, run down the corridor, to Dad's office to check the phone, hoping to God there was going to be one Shopify sale there. And when there was, like, it is a feeling that I do not think I've ever been able to replicate since. That day, that moment.
Which is
was incredible.
interesting, isn't it? And that's also something that one sale has really opened not doors towards future, but has given you motivation that you probably needed at that time for you to go to the next step and get more business, get more sales.
Yeah, you're spot on, and I think it's like videos like this, and you'd be interviewing people, Emil, who have achieved something in life. And for anyone watching this who is getting started or is literally at day one, looking at kind of where they want to go, aspirations or achievements that they want for themselves, it's one of those things that it's easy to think about, but then when you try and draw the dot from, all right, here is where I want to go to, here is where I am today, and how do I actually get there? Even just the first step in line of that journey is one of those things that's like, oh, well, actually this might be possible and maybe there is something here.
Which is interesting. I've interviewed now about 40 people. And out of all 40 of us that I've interviewed, including myself, we all have started our companies from nothing. And we all had that first step and first sale. But also, we all had the same issues in different fields. We all dealt with, not enough sales. We all have the points where we were running out of money. We all had, days, where we couldn't talk to somebody when times were difficult. Basically, we all went through the same shit. And none of us had it easy, including yourself. When you start something, spend $500, you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to get 100 sales. You're spending $500, and $500, but which is really fascinating, is really a mind game, because when you're 15 years old, and when you spend $500 and something doesn't work, a lot of 15 years olds, a lot of people in general, they would walk away from it. They would say, okay, this is too hard now. It didn't work, and let's, forget about it. Let's just go back to school. But with yourself, you went and kept mowing lawns for another 6 months, so you can save more money. Okay, let's give it a go again.
I think that I owe a lot of that, honestly, to mum and dad, where back to the tennis story, saw them from day one, literally start with nothing. Dad would work in the shop 12, 13, 14 hours a day. He couldn't afford anyone else to work there. And we would have family dinners, for example, at 6 or 7 o'clock, and we'd have a buzzer in the center of the table. That buzzer was for the doorbell downstairs, which was actually the pro shop where he'd sell tennis rackets and shoes out of. So I remember the hard work and the dedication that it took, even for them. So I thought, well, you know what? If I want to try to do something similar, there is going to need to be a bit of effort put in here. And I appreciate that the result probably won't come after day one as much as I wanted it to. So there was that. And I just think the expectation was just, it was going to take more than just trying something for the first time for it to actually even go anywhere.
So starting e-commerce business at 15, from first sale, you started selling a lot more product. You started doing well. Age 18, you came up with a new idea. Tell us about it. That's what you're doing today.
Yes. So the connection between e-commerce and Disputify, which is the company I'm running now, was throughout the time of growing the e-commerce businesses, we would deal with thousands of customers. And through those experiences, a big part of that was the refund policy. So we had customers who, say, would buy products, especially if it was an apparel product. They'd get it, it's too big, it's too small, it's not the right style. They just picked the wrong thing. Now, we started offering something called an instant refund to those customers. So we would pay them the money back before they had even returned the product to us, if we, say, had seen that customer a couple of times buy from our store before.
So you really started doing that on yourself?
100%.
Before you went?
So yeah, we saw that, and the conversion rate increases we saw, the average cart value increases that we saw, and even just the retention of that customer and how we're able to turn that person from someone who'd bought from 1, 2, 3, 4 times from us to someone who now was a lifelong fan of the brand and wanted to come back and not just buy again, but tell everyone about the world-class experience that they had. The typical status quo for refunds at the moment, if you bought a shirt or anything online, you get it, you decide you don't want it, you got to send it back. That could take 1, 2, or 3 weeks. The brand then has to check it over, decide if it's resellable, and then give the refund back to the customer.
2 months.
Exactly. There you go. So
and in 2 months, I'm going to even forget about that I even had it in the first place.
And that's it. And you and I are in the fortunate position where if we're dealing with a $30 shirt, if we are going to return it, the $30, it's okay. We're going to be able to put food on the table tomorrow. But for a lot of people, there
It's
are
not the case.
products. It's a very different story. So
And if they don't have a good experience, business itself is going to lose because they're not going to go back there. Full
100%.
stop.
100%. So really Disputify is helping brands.
So that you started doing that really on your own business, and then you thought to yourself, actually, I can make business out of this.
100%. So the game plan was, I was 17 years old. This was back in late 2019. And I thought, well, there's something here. I've got the e-commerce businesses running. It was something that I thought, if I can transition out of this and go into software, feels like the next thing for me. What can I do? Realize that maybe there was a way I could build this where not just we could operate this as a business, but we could scale this across the internet, give it to every single brand, put this in front of millions of customers. Thought, all right, well, I've got some money here from e-commerce. Let's go bankroll it myself. Turns out that literally within a couple of weeks, doing the pitch deck, building a bit of the product, I'd met a couple of investors down in Sydney. Literally within 2 weeks after that, it raised the first $1.5 million in a pre-seed round and was off building from there.
Which is interesting because you were still age 18.
I was actually 17 at the time.
17.
So I couldn't even be the company director for the first 2 months of the company.
So, okay, I need some money, but I can't be a director. That will go well. But, so you just had an idea. Now, to raise money comes with certain responsibilities. But also to raise money at any age is not easy. And to raise money at age 17 and 18, that is just unbelievable. So there's a lot of people that have ideas like yourself, and those people want to go and raise money, but they don't know where to start, and a lot of them wouldn't even have a product. But you already had a proven something that works within your own business. So when you went and talked to investors, you can tell them, hey, this is how this can potentially shape and change my business, correct?
It was, but it was actually a harder sell because I understood that the only reason we were able to offer this incredible experience to a consumer was because we'd seen that consumer before.
Yes.
So when you're trying to scale this across multiple brands, you can't rely on those brands to only offer this to customers they've seen 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So really the actual original iteration of the product, hence the name Disputify, was around, well, cool. How can you essentially partner with brands and put their customers on a spectrum?
Yes.
You were looking at the 97% of customers that you want to trust, you want to go above and beyond for, and you want to offer an instant refund policy to, but who are also the 1, 2, 3, 4% of customers that like to buy things, get them delivered, say they never got them, return pretty much everything they buy. All of those behaviors to a brand you would want to know about, but you're able to look at that information across a network of brands that we're able to build on behalf of that brand and offer the service through that way. So that's where we started. And if you look at the product almost as a pyramid.
And you raised money without actually even having platform built?
No, there was no platform built.
So you just had vision, idea, and I need some money.
Yeah, there was nothing ready to deploy to brands at that time. To be fair, what was very clearly communicated at the time was, this is really what we're out here to solve. This is exactly how we're going to solve it. This is the timeline that we are going to be able to get something in market to. These are the number of brands that we expect to have on the next quarter after that. So the game plan was there, and it was really around investors believing in, cool, well, he's got a track record.
So they really had to believe in you more than the product. And there's a good chance that half of them didn't even understand what the hell you were talking about, but they were really investing in yourself. And if I had to invest, doesn't matter how great idea you would have, I would have to believe that you are a capable person to execute everything you're telling me about today.
That's it. And for any early stage company, same with you and me, like the early employees that you would have had were believers in you. The first clients, I guarantee, were probably believers in you.
They had no idea about anything I was doing, really.
So I think for any business, it is the CEO and the founder has to be someone that people can get behind. And one of the most important skills that you can develop if you want to become a good CEO and founder is to just answer the question of, why should people listen to me? Why should people follow me? And if you can answer questions like that, honestly, then you'll be on your way.
Going back, you probably don't realize how young you are because you see yourself as a business individual, but a lot of my friends are 30, 40, 50, 60 and have huge businesses. And then you have 20, so you are, most of people your age, they don't run businesses. They don't come up with crazy ideas like that. They don't go and raise $1.5 million at age 18. So you kind of skipped your childhood, your teenage years, straight away into deep end, I'm going to run the business. Which is really, inspiring because you don't have the knowledge and life experience of somebody who's 50 years old to execute ideas like that. And people that invested money in yourself, you really had to be different from anybody that age. So when you raised $1.5 million, and then next step was 2 big steps: build a platform, get clients. How hard was that?
A lot harder than I expected.
Yes.
So in theory,
everything is in business, isn't it?
100%. Yeah. In theory, it's always nice to be able to say, we're able to build this great product, we're able to easily acquire customers, and then we can easily scale it from there. It's not 9 times out of 10. That's not how it goes.
Yes.
So
you're hoping it's going to go that way.
So does everyone. So we started when we launched the business in early 2020. So we raised the first 1.5 million. We actually launched the platform 12 months later in early 2021. So it took us a full 12 months to build it.
But saying that, you also raised money and you were starting business in the middle of pandemic, where you actually couldn't physically travel yourself anywhere.
That's it,
So
yeah.
you kind of couldn't pick any shittier time, full stop.
I know, I was very lucky as well. Like, we'd raised that money a week, I think, before, like, it had closed a week before the lockdown in Sydney had started. So if it had been a week later...
Timing.
Yeah, would I be sitting here talking about the same thing I'm talking about now?
Who knows?
I don't know, yeah.
Yes.
Would have made it work, hopefully, but you never know. So, look, yeah, it took 12 months to even get the platform to a state where we were happy to start deploying this to brands. The first couple of brands that we got on the platform were from cold calling. So yes. I found a list of merchants, picked up the phone with the small team we had at the time, yes. and literally just called as many brands as we possibly could. Problem we found is that e-commerce brands, the guy who's actually, or the girl who's installing products on this platform, isn't the one taking customer support calls.
Correct.
Of course. So odds are the person doesn't even know who that person is. So you're running this rat race through every business yes. that you talk to. Customer support doesn't want to hear about the thing you're trying to tell them. So yes. even just from a confidence factor of being able to sell this product to someone who did not want to talk to us, had no interest in what we were selling, but being able to convince them to introduce us to the right people and then have that conversation and then get the product on the site, that was one of the biggest learning curves that I
And also the hardest thing is, the first few clients, once you have them, then you can use them, whoever you're talking next, you can tell them, hey, this is the clients that we're having. Like, exactly. For example, right now, where your business is today, it's much easier when you have brands behind you. But first 5 clients in any business is just a hustle, and is having rejections. So when you do call, specifically, I'm 43 now, and I feel like doesn't matter what business I start, I have enough life experience and business experience behind me that I don't get offended, I don't get disappointed, I just look for solutions constantly. And if people tell me 100 times no, it's a happy day, so I'm going to try 101st time. But when you're young, when you're 18, 19 years old, and when you get 10 rejections, we're like, okay, shit,
It's even worse too when you've got, at that time, $1.5 million of other people's money, that you've spent a lot of that on building a platform that you truly believe in.
And anybody that invests money in you, they do want a return. They didn't invest
of course they do.
They didn't invest money because you're a freaking nice guy. I'll take you for lunch. But business-wise, I'll give you $1 million. Even I know it's a high risk investing it in any startups. I always say 1 in 10 startups work. Even it's a high risk. As an investor, I have invested millions in startups, and some of them work, some of them don't. And I know the risk involved by me investing money, but I want you to succeed so I can see my little dollars.
Well, it's not even just succeed, it's high risk, but it's also high reward. And that's what you're
Correct.
looking for. You're not just looking for a multiple of 3, 4, 5 on the money that you spend.
No.
You're looking for 100, 1,000, 10,000 times
Correct.
your money in some cases. And that's why you're willing to make the bet. So, yeah, for me, going through that experience was difficult because I knew all of that. I'm in such a humbled and privileged position where you have yes. people who are willing to back me at such a young age, and even to get knocked down 90% of the time from these people, like, we probably won't use this, or it's not a priority for us at the moment. Trying to get those first couple of brands on, and to your point, when you have no track record with a product yes. like this, it is the hardest thing to sell.
Yes.
So we're across a couple of 100 brands now at the moment. Most of our customers are over in the US. To be able to walk into brand pitches.
A couple of 100, which is interesting, starting from
0, yeah, a year and a half ago. So,
which is you guys are still relatively young company. So growing the business, quite often I talk about scaling up. any business. And you are in a business where it's exciting but dangerous. What I mean exciting and dangerous, because you cannot almost control how you scale, because you're online business. And anything online can explode overnight. And you got to actually deal with scaling up as well. If you are accountant, like your dad was, and you have a practice with 10 accountants that are working for you, you can control your growth, because you can decide, okay, guys, you know what? We had a $2 million revenue last 12 months. Let's go and get $200,000 more in revenue, look for more clients, or we can say no to clients. You can kind of control your growth. With business like yourself, or a lot of e-commerce businesses in general, they can explode overnight while you're sleeping. How do you control scaling up? Because you're still relatively young. You went from one client to a few hundred clients over a short amount of time.
It is hard, and it's this balancing act between doing the early work now in expectation of scale, whilst also not getting too ahead of yourself. So when you go from one brand to say 200 brands, it's not just the engineering capability that you need to have to be able to support those brands, the millions of transactions that those brands are also doing, but it's even just customer support. Like, how are you making each one of those brands feel like they are the only brand on the platform and the only one you want to spend time with?
Because any one of your customers, they still expect level of service that comes with any business.
They don't care the stress that you're under. They don't care the
Well,
expectations.
you made a decision to take them on as a client, so you better deliver.
And exactly, it's even too, like when you look at real estate at the moment and the agents that you're going to have to hire and where the market itself is going, you would much prefer to be in a situation where you've got excess capability there, ready to go, to be able to take on more clients, as opposed to have to turn people away and say,
100%.
oh, yeah, sorry, we just can't take you because we don't have the people here. So especially in tech, there's this combination between you can throw more people at a problem, but manpower typically isn't the answer for a lot of the problems that we're solving for. So how are you putting in scalable business processes behind the scenes, whether it's from a product perspective, whether it's from a back-end engineering perspective, whether it's from a customer support perspective, whatever that looks like, if you're able to think potentially 2 to 6 months ahead and try and predict growth, especially when you are VC backed, you've then got an extra level of comfort where cash flow at any one time is typically easier to manage because you have external capital to work with as well.
Especially, you want to scale up, you want to grow, you want to get more customers, and especially having a pressure of having other people's money that you are playing with as well. So you kind of, if you don't have that game plan and thinking ahead, you can end up losing people as well. Full stop.
Yeah, it's right, and it's hard too, because there is also another situation, as I said, we're putting the cart before the horse. There are a lot of companies that will just burn through the cash that they have because there was expectation there that they were going to grow quickly. Realize that actually, no, there wasn't product market fit for what we were selling. We have to go back to the drawing board. We've hired all these people. We've spent all this money on marketing. And no one thinks a business is going to go that way. But to your point, 9 out of 10 startups do. So balancing that,
and nobody starts any company. Nobody wants to fail.
Expecting it to fail. Yeah.
Nobody wants to fail, because any company that we all start today is going to take a lot of energy, is going to take a lot of time, resources, and none of us want to put all the time, energy, and money and fail tomorrow. So we all have a great intentions, but running your race at any time, everything is against you. Everything is against you, because you might end up having staff issues. People can come and people can go, can lose clients, competitor is chasing you. So everything is against you, and you are trying to make something work, which is never easy. Your head office was in Brisbane. At young age, he said, I am going to New York. He kind of couldn't find a much bigger city. I love New York. I always say New York as a city, if you go there and spend 5 days, even if you don't do anything, just the energy and vibe you get out of city. I've been there literally 7 times or 8 times now. The vibe, the energy, you feel like people are walking with purpose. So even if you don't do anything, the energy you get out of that crazy city is just unbelievable. Why New York?
Practically, there were 3 reasons for us. First, it's where we were hiring. Secondly, we were hiring there because a lot of our brands now are based in the US, but the vast majority of them plus a lot of them are in New York. And then when we look at the capital from last round, we raised an extra $2.5 million back in December of last year. Majority of that money was from the US, and majority of that was from New York.
New York.
So practically those were the three reasons why, in all honesty. Personally as well, I look at the brands that we are going after, where are they based? Where are the most innovative, direct-to-consumer brands that you can possibly find? They're in New York. And when you look at just the mindset of the people over there, you go to a networking event and you walk around and people aren't talking about what they want to do or what they were going to do.
What they're doing.
It's, what are they doing? What is the thing that they are up to? What are the goals that they are trying to hit?
Yes.
And everyone knows what they are trying to do. And to your point,
Yes.
they're walking with purpose. So even just from a personal perspective, that was an environment that I wanted to be in.
Yes.
And I knew from the business's perspective, it was the right thing to do as well.
But also everything happens so fast because we are quite often facing, we don't expect things are going to happen because think about this. First of all, you have a lot of things against you, which is your age, because age 18, you're freaking young, baby. Not in a bad way, but from age 18, idea was born. Age 19, you raised $1.5 million. Age 20, which is right now, you raise another $2.5 million. You end up moving to New York. So a lot of things will happen in 2 years' time, from raising money, building the platform, getting clients, moving from one side of the world to another. How do you actually manage the entire process yourself? Because it's a lot to take, not for somebody who's young, it's a lot to take for anybody at any age.
That's a great question. I think it's just being laser focused on what's actually important. So, moving cities, there's plenty, just even on that, there's plenty of things that you can get distracted by, whether it's meeting new people, whether it's setting up apartments, whether it's setting up offices, what flights you're going to take. Those sort of things, they're all semantics. They don't actually matter.
Correct.
But what does matter is, where do you want the business to be over the next 6 to 12 months? Who are the people that we want in the business? Who are the brands that we want to work with? Who do I personally want to be known as over the next 6 to 12 months? Who do I want to be as a person? And if you're able to answer those things, and then you go, well, it makes sense to be in a city like New York if that is what I want to accomplish, and you just keep focused on that, that is, I think, the best way to compartmentalize.
You're sacrificing a lot because a lot of people, your age specifically, you don't have a job, you have a company that's live 24 hours a day, which means you are invested in your business 24 hours a day. You don't have a working hours. You don't work from 9 to 5. You work while you're breathing. And even when you go to sleep, part of me always say, even when I sleep, my brain is still working. I'm still doing something. Sometimes I would dream about work. When I wake up in the morning, 6 o'clock or 4 o'clock in my case, oh my God, I'm so tired because I feel like I've worked my entire
night
while I was sleeping because, and normally people that are, in a young age, there is, okay, parties, girlfriends, boyfriends, distractions. And this is the time where you kind of, now, what, who cares? I got time. With you, you step into the shoes of serious young entrepreneur where everything that normal young people are experiencing is out of the window. Yeah, running a race.
I think also too, it's like you ought to, it's a bit cliche, but you actually have to genuinely love what you do.
Yes.
And I think what I'm doing, yes, high degree of love. Love what I do. I love the fact that we're able to build something that consumers can really care about. We can drive results for a brand, and that is where the satisfaction comes. But it's also just liking the idea of working. I've come to the conclusion now that if I could spend my day doing anything, I always find that if you can pick something that genuinely seems like the hardest thing to do, and it might be sending the email you don't want to send, it might be making the call that you don't want to make, the level of satisfaction you get out of that makes me happier than anything else that I could be doing throughout that day. So now that I've come to that conclusion, it's like work isn't work. Work is just what I do to make myself happy. And if all I want is to be happy, I just get to work more. And if I'm working on something that I love,
Interesting. All my life, I think at very young age, I really understood the meaning of one life. I'm double your age or a little bit more, and time flies. Before you know, you're going to be 40. Before you know, you're going to be 60. You're going to be 80 if you live that long, and we are both dead, full stop. Hopefully me sooner than yourself because I'm older. So time flies, And one thing that I always say to people, I am unemployed. And people said, what do you mean? You looks like you're working. I said, no, we all do different things for time to pass every single day. So people might play golf all day. They might be on the beach all day. They might do whatever the hell they're doing. They're doing that because it makes them happy. It's exactly what he said. With me, I love what I'm doing. So to me, I'm unemployed. I don't work because I'm creating companies. I'm working with people I want to work with, if you want to call it work. But I'm actually entertaining myself. Because to me, that is entertaining. I love going to my office. I love seeing and working with younger people, creative people, people that are better than I am in their own fields, and we are creating amazing things. That to me is fun. Some people go to casino, spend 10 hours a day to see it as fun. Everything I do, it completes me as an individual because that's what I want out of my life. Most people that know me, they've never seen me drunk. Maybe once in 20 years. I don't find joy in going, I don't do drugs, I don't really do alcohol, anything like that. And everything I'm doing it because I want to do it. I like to be present in moments, And me taking responsibilities, taking risks, which is exactly what you have done. You've taken massive risk at age 18 years old, started a company, becoming a director of a company, which means you can get burned, right? Things might not go your way. Raise 1.5 million, raise 2.5 million, move from Brisbane, move to New York. To you, to a lot of people, that seems like, holy shit, that's so much stress. I'm having a heart attack just thinking about it. With you, hey, let's just enjoy this journey, smile, and enjoy entire process of everything. And that to you is fun. And that to me is fun, With me not doing anything or relaxing, what would be to some people, to me it was like, oh my God, I just wasted half a day of my time.
And I will say as well, like I've been incredibly fortunate to be in a position where none of what I've been able to do today, and I'll be honest about this, none of it would not have been if people didn't give me an opportunity to succeed.
I agree and disagree. I'll tell you why I disagree.
Okay.
People giving you opportunity, but you were hunting for it.
Oh, 100%.
So,
the harder I work,
do you know what I
luckier
mean?
seem to
So
become.
you are very blessed that people gave you opportunity, people invested money, but you made it happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So a lot of people said to me, a lot of my employees said to me, Emil, you have created an amazing company. I said, no. We have created. I gave a platform, but we all contributed as well. So even when it comes to your luck, I agree, but fuck, you were really opening yourself to those opportunities to receive them. Would you agree?
I would agree, yeah. And look, I think that, I mentioned earlier, the harder I seem to work, the luckier, if you want to call it that, I seem to become. And it's one of those things that if you're able to align incentives with the people that you know, so if you're able to approach someone with a business opportunity and say, I think this is really exciting, I'd love you to come work with me on it, or I'd love you to potentially invest in the idea. At the end of the day, all that person might really like you, but there's incentive there for them, whether it's they like the idea and they think they can make a lot of money off it,
Absolutely.
whether they think that they like you as a person, they just want to back you and support you, and there are 100 of things that you can come up with. So yeah, to your point, I think if you're able to do the work, figure out how to actually align incentives to begin with, and then being able to put yourself in the right situations with the right people who have the things that you want in life, and you're able to be there and serve them and just give it your all, then yeah, I think you're on your path to getting exactly what you do want.
And look, to be honest, I would definitely invest money in your business. Not just because I actually like your business. Well, talk of your business, I actually think your business, everything is becoming more online. I mean, e-commerce, look at Amazon, the size of Amazon. 20 years ago, Amazon was this little, and today it's just a giant that almost every human is using. So the business that you're getting yourself into, the depth of how far the business can go is massive. But also the horse that's running the race, what I always call myself, it still has to be stable with a massive vision as well. So people, I always say we are all in people's business. Because if people don't see you as a solid individual yourself, your idea means nothing.
So people talk a lot about, business is a marathon, not a sprint. You've been doing this for a long time now. How do you think about that?
Oh, you know what? To be honest, Jack, I am running a sprint. I'm running a marathon. because, I feel like my journey, my life and my business journey, and whoever comes with it is going to be fucking rough, right? Because as an entrepreneur, nothing ever goes your way. So with me, I see it as a long marathon, but I feel like I'm sprinting every day to get there. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So as much as, you know what, it's okay. This is a long marathon. It's not a sprint. I think the reality is, because we are all racing against time. We are racing against so many things. Competitors. What's in today is not in tomorrow. I mean, look, I always say to stay relevant to anything today, you gotta think on your toes. Think about social media. Oh my God, MySpace, you probably can't even remember, long time ago. They were massive. Facebook was everything. Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok, LinkedIn. Do you know what we're gonna have tomorrow? Who knows? Who knows what's gonna come tomorrow? So, so as much as it's a long race, there's also sprinting, running away from everything around you every single day. So I think we're doing both. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's
sprinting every day like a duck, because two of us, we're laughing here right now. But when the cameras are off, when we're running our own business, our legs are just freaking sprinting like a duck. And when you see duck above water, so peaceful, so beautiful. And then he's like freaking pedaling like there's no tomorrow.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, I would agree. It's one of those things that I like to see it as if you're able to really understand, if you're a duck and you are working really hard, if you know where the edge of the pond is and you know where you're going and you know that, well, I might have 200 meters more, but potentially there could be some headwinds that come up. And that is the hardest part, because if you are running a marathon, at least you know where the finish line is. In business, you've got absolutely no idea where the finish line is. It's constantly changing. There's constantly different obstacles.
You're sprinting like a madman.
Exactly. And it's almost this zigzag circle. You got no idea how many zigzags you need to do to get to the finish line.
Business is definitely not a straight line. And I'm glad it's not, because it wouldn't be as entertaining. There's something I discussed with my staff this morning in a sales meeting. And I was talking about 12 months of the year in a business that we are in, which is a little bit more different to business you are in. And I always say to them, November, October, people start getting tired. November, people are really getting tired. And December, most people are really getting tired. And I said to them, December is my most exciting month, because everything I'm doing in December, I'm putting a really good foundations for year ahead, specifically business that I'm in. And I said to them, you really got to see your year like a heavyweight boxing match. A lot of times you would actually see boxers go 12 rounds. Every round matters. And guess what? The last round, which is in my mind December that we are in, it matters the most. Because you're either going to get knocked out, or you're going to knock something out in front of you, but everything matters all 12 rounds. So even in business, in business, as much as we are having that long vision, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Like, man, we are sprinting, every day, 2 steps or 5 steps, or 100 meters or 500 meters. It's just a little sprints constantly, and and it's always, there's a beautiful gentleman that I'm friends with on Instagram. I'm actually going to interview him. I'm not sure if you know him, Peter Tarr. Beautiful guys from Melbourne.
No.
And you got to follow him at least on Instagram, because he will laugh, he'll be inspired and motivated as well. And things that he said, a lot of people will tell you, just be you. Just be you, be yourself. And he said, I disagree. If being you is not best version of everything every day, you don't want to be fucking you. Get better, change things. Do you know what I mean? Which is interesting. And that in business, going back to your sprint and marathon and everything, we're constantly going to be changing. I mean, what you have done 2 years ago when you were starting your business, do you think you do things differently now?
Very differently.
Would you say the direction of your business is maybe going a different way? Where is it going to go in the next 5 years? Time will tell.
So what would you say? So look, I'm 20 years old, as you mentioned at the moment, and there are a lot of 20-year-olds that look at you and go, well, Emil's achieved a great level of success. I want to be like Emil. You know, there are certain things that I want to start doing now whilst I'm 20 or in my younger years. So by the time I am 30, 40, 50, I've got a foundation and I've got something to build off. So if you were going back at 20, is there anything that you would have done differently? Is there any parting advice you would give with someone at that age bracket?
Look, as you know, we all make so many mistakes every day. There's no day that you don't make mistakes. There's a million of them. Little, small, whatever the size is. And looking back now, age 43, I always say, I've made a million mistakes. When I'm looking back, you know, you want to think to yourself, I would, you know, I regret this, I regret that. But when I look at the way I'm thinking now, I don't regret anything. I don't regret any mistake. Everything I have done has made me who I am today. And I'm so fucking happy. Because the hardest thing for you to do, or me, or anybody else, is to look at yourself in a mirror and see really real version of you and not lie to yourself. Because a lot of people look at themselves in a mirror and they say, I'm an entrepreneur, you know, I'm a rich guy, I'm successful, I'm doing really well. Okay, really? You know what I mean? So with me, I love where I am now, and every single fuck up that I made throughout my journey has made me who I am today, and I'm liking the person I am today. But there's one thing I would say to anybody that is really young, that many people don't understand this, that you got to live life. You got to live life. Go and take those risks. Go and start chasing better version of you every single day so you can keep improving. You know, don't waste time, because you don't know when you're going to die. The bullet that's going to kill you has already been fired long time ago. It's going to catch you fucking one way or the other, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 55. Who fucking knows? We are exposed every day to danger. You drive a car, right? Truck can hit you. Plane can crash.
Yep.
Who the fuck knows what's going to happen to us tomorrow? So with me, really understand that your time is so valuable. Don't waste, I don't waste a day. No way I'm going to waste a day. Today is the day that I never lived before. How can I enjoy it better? How can I be better? How can I go home at night time and say to myself, you know what, if I did die today, day that I had today, it's okay. I'm happy with it. Because there are people that are 60, 70, 80 years old, and those people, Jack, they will like, oh my God, you know, I regret I didn't do this. I really wasn't the best version, you know. I wanted to do so many things. With me, if I literally die today, you know what? I have lived life. I'm 43. I'm relatively young. I feel great. I go to the gym every day. But you know what? I've lived life. And I didn't fucking waste it. And you are, what you're doing right now, you are just living life. Because think about how much richer you're making yourself. Not financially. Financially is one thing. At age 18, age 19, age 20, you have met so many people with so much more experience than you do have. Doesn't that make you richer straight away? Because, you know, we were discussing some, you know, we were mentioning some names before this, people that have done extremely well. By spending 5 minutes with them, were you richer straight away?
100%.
How much have you learned? Those people experience things that you and I haven't. You know what I mean? So you are 18, 19, and 20, you're meeting so many amazing people. You're hiring, you're firing, you're flying from one continent to another continent. All that is shaping you, the dangerous man that you're fucking becoming tomorrow. And let me tell you, you're starting at age 18 and things that you experience, you're becoming a freaking dangerous man. In a good way. Dangerous man because you have exposed yourself to gaining so much knowledge at such a young age. And that to me is secret to life. You are being happy person and you are just being bombarded with so much knowledge that you're exposing yourself every single day. Everything I'm saying is what I have done. What you're doing right now at age 18, I didn't start in e-commerce, but I've started in business. I never worked for anybody my entire life. From age 18, I've been exposed working for myself. Hard. You want to cry on a daily basis. The challenges you're going to meet. You know, you might start ideas and you might start parts of your business might fail, but that doesn't change the direction of where you're going as an individual. And the life, it's a beautiful thing, you know. we all have our choices to have a mind as a best friend or a biggest fucking enemy. And you have taken advantage of your young head and your mind saying, hey, I'm climbing the mountain. And right now, even, I mean, it sounds like I'm fucking interviewing me. Right now, when I think, what some people would think have all the things. I live in a beautiful place. I got a bunch of supercars. I have an amazing company, amazing people. But I live simple life, even people might think that I don't. I live simple life because things that I want every day, start and finish the day, I want to be fucking happy. Going back to what you said, you're fucking unemployed. You literally should be on the dole because you don't work. You see it as fun. And to me, it's just one beautiful, fun game. I used to love playing soccer. You go there for 90 minutes, you just have so much fun. That to me is every day. Every day. Every day. What's ahead of you? Oh my God. You are building a $1 billion empire at such a young age. Inspiring. Inspiring. What's next for you?
Yeah, I think doubling down on what I'm already doing now. I'm in such a fortunate position when you talk about meeting strangers. I think strangers have, and the people who I haven't already met, have every single thing that I could ever want in life. And I've been so fortunate to meet so many people to date who, to my point maybe, have given me a lot of the opportunities that I have taken to build into what I've got now. So look, I think doing more of that. We're on a journey now, as I mentioned, we have a couple of hundred brands on the platform. We want to get this instant refunds policy that would change the way that maybe even you would look at buying a product online, where you can now buy anything knowing that if you get it, you don't want it, you don't have to wait weeks for your money back. We can give you the money back on behalf of that brand, and the brand pays us back when they get the product. So to be able to enforce that now as the status quo towards what you expect, and you push that in front of tens of millions of consumers, you need thousands of brands to sign onto a platform like this. So for us, it's very much a journey of how do we get there? And if I can almost do a similar thing to what the Afterpay guys have done, or the Buy Now Pay Later space in general, where there are Australians who have pioneered the way that people look at buying things online. If I can also do that.
From Australia as well.
From Australia, the place where we get the offcuts and everything, it just comes out of the US.
And we are such a small market too. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
you know yourself, when you're in New York, even when you're just sitting in the office, I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable place, So, the guys that started Afterpay, for them to take that business global, from Australia, and I feel like, we are in a back row. Normally when you're in a class, in a high school, and you got 50 chairs, I feel like Australia is the chair number 50, all the way at the back, and we got to see what's happening in front of us. But hey, the beautiful thing is with any kind of business these days, the world is in front of you.
And it is. I honestly, and that's why it's hard to answer the question, because I'm so what I'm doing today and the journey that we are on is so incredibly exciting that it almost does feel like I get to go spend time with the people that I love and I care about, the team and the merchants and the brands that we get to work with, and to be able to push this, as I mentioned, to where I can be meeting someone for the first time and be able to say oh, yeah, I used that product last week. Yes. Or that actually, instead of getting screwed by a brand waiting 2 months for your money back, I got it back instantly, and now I want to go back and buy from that brand again. To build something like that where it actually does leave a lasting impact and change the way people do things, regardless of what the product actually is, those are the things that I want to build. And the fact that I can do this so young, do it from Australia, move the business to New York, grow the business there.
Within 2 years.
Within 2 years.
Not 22. Yeah, time goes fast. Business you are in, I call this that maybe we are living at the age where we all want everything that instantly.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Instagram. Instagram, for example, or any other platform, those reels or stories or whatever people call them, people just swiping every 2-3 seconds. There's no more, watch something for 2 hours. We all want everything instantly. And the business that you are exactly in, it's exactly about saving time. And I think our attention span has just shrinked a lot over the years as well. I can't imagine where you're going to be in 10 years. and I so look forward to it. I hope you realize how big inspiration you are, not just to young people, to myself and many other people.
Thank you.
And if there is advice at 20 years old, normally people that I interview, I ask him a question, what advice would you give to your 20 years old self? Well, fuck me.
Yeah, I'll be giving it to me.
Yeah, so I will say this. What advice would you give other 18, 19, and 20 years olds that, all humans want to do well. We all want to do well. And what advice would you give them on their life journey? Because you're living it now.
Yeah, look, I would say build a box. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of external noise, whether it's coming from Instagram, whether it's coming from other people, and whether it's coming just from what you're doing in your day-to-day life. If you really do want to achieve something and you've got this idea that you want to go and have a crack at, be able to build a box around it and around yourself, put your head down and just give it a crack. Because everyone, and I think in Australia more so as well, there is very much tall poppy syndrome where everyone will try and tell you the reasons to why your idea won't work. Some of those reasons sometimes are valid, but the only way you know something is going to work or not work is by giving it a crack. And I like to think, and hopefully, that the more that I can do, especially the younger that I can do it, sets more of an example that you can be a kid from the outskirts of Brisbane who grew up above a tennis centre with $500 to their name that can actually
he lost.
something.
That
That
didn't go far.
That lost, yes. Yeah, and that had a relationship with a lawnmower for months.
Yeah.
And look, if the more that I can do, hopefully it sets more of an example. That is a lot of what drives me today. So if you're able to build a box, have a crack, give something a shot, and the more that you can learn now, especially at a younger age, the more people you have the opportunity to meet, the more conversations you can have with strangers. I mean, it makes you more of a person. And to get out of your comfort zone and just give things a crack is something that I am constantly pushing myself to do every single day. It never ends. And every day is hard, no matter how well I think I might be doing. So yeah, give it a crack and just take a shot.
Because, a lot of people might look up to me and, I'm 43, or a lot of my friends at a similar age, but we've been doing it for 20 odd years. And, but true inspiration is when people actually see somebody their age that's actually giving it a go. So don't change that as well. What you're doing right now, you're inspiring so many people that it's possible. It's possible to start something, give it a go, and start building it. And age means nothing, specifically when you were 8 years old coming up with ideas. Imagine that meeting if you go to somebody's office and you're 8 years old, they'll be like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? So it's just inspiring. Keep inspiring, man, and I think you're a good example, not just for Australians, good example for anybody that is at any age. And I look forward to watching the journey.
No, I appreciate it. And to finish off, I would even say that the fact you don't need to do a podcast like this. You've got plenty of other things on. This is not a moneymaker for you. So to be able to spend the time to actually get people here to tell some sort of inspiring journey, I'm only 20 years old. The only way that I get to learn more is by spending time with people like you. And I will be the first to admit that...
I'll send you the bill still.
Yeah, how much is this, an hour?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, just to be able to get around people who are on a journey that you want to be on would probably be one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever got. It is to surround yourself with the right people, regardless
so
of
important.
how well they are doing. If they've got the mindset right, if they're on a journey, it's someone that you can kind of get around and be with and work towards. It's why, I don't have a co-founder in the business, Disputify, that I'm running now. It's probably one of the things that I would have liked in the early days. It all just happened very quickly.
Yes.
But if you aren't in a position where you can find someone to start a business with, just even to be able to spend time with other people who are building similar businesses, who are on a similar journey, it does make all the difference, and it's helped me immeasurably.
Look, there's a saying for last million years, 5 people you are surrounding yourself with really says a lot about you. When I was younger, when somebody was telling me that, I didn't really think about it. But now it is so true. So, having right people around you and also opening yourself to meeting new people and learning, it's phenomenal. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.